art has always been a mirror in society, reflecting our values, taboos, and beliefs. Throughout history, there have been many significant artworks that have challenged these taboos and beliefs, sparking fierce debates and many conversations, and some have even faced censorship. Today, we're going to explore some of the world's most controversial artworks that have left an infinite dent in society, for better or for worse. We will be exploring this chronologically, starting in 1536 to 1987, and we start with Michelangelo. Michelangelo's The Last Judgment, adorning the altar wall of the Sistine Chapel, is a breathtaking yet very controversial masterpiece. Its dynamic depiction of the second coming of Christ and the final judgment of souls shocked many upon its unveiling. The nude figures in such a sacred space led to a moral outrage, prompting Pope Pius IV to order alterations, including covering some of the nudity with painted drapery. Despite these efforts of censorship, the fresco remains one of the most celebrated yet contested works of the Renaissance. Michelangelo may not seem today as a controversial artist, but back in the day, he was seen as somewhat of a rebel to certain people, such as the Pope. Clearly. From here, we move on to 1863, exploring Édouard Manet, not Monet, Manet. Manet. From there, we go on to explore 1863 with Édouard Manet, not Monet, Manet, with his work Le Déjeuner sans l'Herbe. In Le Déjeuner, Manet shattered traditional artistic norms by placing a nude woman in the presence of two fully clothed men. The lack of mythological context made the nudity even more shocking to 19th century audiences. Rejected by the Paris Salon, it was instead shown at the Salon des Refuses. I'm really struggling to pronounce anything in French. I do apologize. Does it help if I say I'm trying to learn French? Probably not, because I'm not doing a very good job. Where it became a magnet for both admiration and scorn. This painting played a crucial role in paving the way for modernism, challenging perceptions of realism and social decorum. It's an interesting piece, not for its time, but really paved the way for modernism. Speaking of paving the way, we shall then move on to 1917, featuring Marcel Duchamp's Fountain. If you have ever even Googled art, you will know this work. Duchamp's Fountain may look like an ordinary urinal, but it remains one of the most revolutionary artworks of all time, claimed by many. By submitting a found object, a mass-produced urinal, to an art exhibition, Duchamp questioned the very nature of art itself. Rejected at the time, the piece later became a symbol of conceptual art, emphasizing the importance of the artist's intent over the object itself. Fountain continues to spark debates around what qualifies as art and the role of the artist in shaping meaning. This work will never stop causing controversy. It's a very interesting piece and definitely was what I would consider the very beginning of conceptual art. What is not conceptual art and considered one of the greatest yet most controversial artworks of all time is Pablo Picasso's Guernica. Painted in 1937 on a giant canvas, Pablo Picasso's Guernica is a haunting anti-war masterpiece that captures the devastation of the 1937 bombing of the Basque town during the Spanish Civil War. The fragmented figures, distorted expressions, and monochrome palette amplify the very sense and horror of grief. The painting became a powerful political statement against violence and opposition, so much so that it was banned in Spain until after Franco's dictatorship. Even today, Guernica serves as a reminder of art's ability to speak out against injustice. This is one of the most powerful artworks that I would say Pablo Picasso has ever painted. It spoke to so many people and was a full emphasis and symbol of stopping fascism. It was also exhibited in the World's Fair, and I believe you can still see it today. From 1937, we now travel to 1953, to Robert Rauschenberg's erased de Kooning drawing. That is a mouthful. Try it. I dare you. Robert Rauschenberg took radical artistic expressionism to a whole nother level with erased de Kooning drawing. Instead of creating something new, he erased an original drawing by abstract expressionist Willem de Kooning. This conceptual art questioned the value of artistic labor, originality, and authorship. Was the erasure an act of destruction or creation? The debate over this piece continues to this very day, making it one of the most fascinating explorations of art's euphorical nature. Traveling 8 years to 1961, we pursue a work called Artist's Shit by Piero Manzoni. This is an interesting artwork. In a bold critique of the art market, Piero Manzoni canned and sold 90 tins labeled artist's shit, priced at the same rate as gold. Was it an ironic commentary on the commercialization of art or an elaborate joke? Regardless of its contents, whether actual excrement or not, the piece continues to provoke discussions about the absurdity of commodified art and the blind faith of collectors. Such an interesting idea. Now, if only my artwork could sell for that much. Quickly traveling to 1975, we now have Carolee Schneemann's interior scroll. This is actually one of the very first historical artworks I wrote about, and I've always found it rather interesting. Anyway, enjoy. Carolee Schneemann's interior scroll is an audacious feminist performance that defied taboos and traditional notions of the female body in art. The performance begins with Schneemann standing nude before an audience, covering her body in paint, and moving in a way that mimicked ancient goddess-like rituals. Then, in a shocking and defiant act, she slowly removed a scroll from her vagina and proceeded to read it. The text on the scroll was a direct critique of the male-dominated art world, highlighting the dismissal of female artists and their ideas. Many viewed the performance as an unapologetic reclaiming of the female body as a site of knowledge, power, and artistic expression, challenging the patriarchal gaze that had historically dominated art. Others, however, dismissed it as nothing more than shock value, reinforcing long-standing debates about the place of the body in contemporary art. Regardless of opinion, Interior Scroll remains one of the most provocative and talked about performances in art history, marking a turning point in feminist art and performance. Your personal views on this specific artwork of Carolee Schneemann may be different from what may be written, but personally I have always admired this artwork, found it with some form of shock value, but also a lot of pride has gone into this work. We now move on to our final artwork, Andres Pisano's Piss Christ, made in 1987. A photograph of a crucifix submerged in urine. Piss Christ outraged many religious communities and sparked debates about blasphemy, funding for the arts, and freedom of expression. Serrano, a devout Catholic, defended the work as a commentary on the commercialization and degradation of religious symbols. Whether seen as a discretion or a critique, the image remains one of the most incendiary pieces in contemporary art. These artworks, though controversial, have played a pivotal role in the art world as we know it today. They have bent social norms and expanded the realms of artistic expression. Whether they shock, inspire, or offend, these artworks are a true symbol to remind us that art is not about beauty. It is about sparking a conversation, a confrontation, and a catalyst for change. There are many, many, many more artworks that have been controversial throughout history, and I'm sure many more will to come. These are personally some of my favorites from more modern art history. I really hope you've enjoyed this, and if you would like to see more, please let me know.
Thank you for watching.